technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, folks. This is BCIT's The Crow, and I'm Bahar Garian. The Western rowing meet happened this Saturday with UBC taking home 8 golds, followed closely by UVic with 6. All Western schools were included, such as SFU and Calgary. The All-Star forward Connor McDavid has agreed to re-sign with the Edmonton Oilers. He will receive $25 million in compensation for the 2-year extension. The agreement ends speculation around McDavid's potential departure from the 3-time Hart Trophy winner was set to hit free agency. A great week for Canadians and Toronto Blue Jays fans. The team beat the New York Yankees for the second game of the series. They will play the Yankees on Tuesday, the 7th in New York. If the Jays beat the Yankees, they will advance to the semifinals, which is one stop away from the World Series. One exciting player to watch is the young 22-year-old pitcher Trey Savage. He was in high school only 4 years ago and is drafted and playing in the big leagues now. A reporter talked with Trey and asked him if it was pitching in last night's game, which they won 13-7.
I don't know. I pitched with my back against the wall with a division title on the line. I mean, I'm not built for this. We're built for this.
Your parents are here today. A lot of family is here today. What does it mean for you to do this in front of them?
It's special. They're my biggest fans.
In WNBA news, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert spoke out for the first time following criticism from Minnesota Lynx star Napheesa Collier. Napheesa Collier said this league has the worst leadership in the world. Players are denouncing the media due to the outdated marketing strategies and the little to no communication between the league and the players. This is the commissioner's response.
The players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better.
In California, one of the Hawks had a car broken into, but the thief took more than just the car.
When a thief took off with a motorized cart outside of SoFi Stadium on Sunday, he likely had no idea that inside containers in the back of the cart were 2 Harris's Hawks named Alice and Bubba. They were there to work the Rams game. They're used to scare away other birds from the stadium during large events like NFL games. Falconer Charles Cogger is in charge of the Hawks.
I've really been struggling for the last 24 hours. A lot of tears.
Police are on the lookout, but so far, no luck.
I really need to get them back by no later than Thursday, because then that means they'll have gone like 4 days without water or food.
Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Mark Sanchez faces legal liability after altercation on Saturday. The former American football player and now broadcaster has been stabbed as well as cutting someone else. He had been released from the hospital and is facing felony charges.
Mark Sanchez was pepper sprayed and stabbed multiple times during a late-night altercation Saturday with a 69-year-old truck driver in an Indianapolis alley, which resulted in criminal charges against the Fox Sports analyst, according to court records filed Sunday. A police affidavit alleges that Sanchez smelled of alcohol and accosted the driver at a hotel's loading docks, leading to a confrontation outside the vehicle that prompted the driver to defensively pull out a knife. Sanchez was in stable condition after being hospitalized with stab wounds to his upper right torso. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is headed to Washington today for a second White House meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump tomorrow. Reporter Naya Ahmed from the Canadian Press has more.
Tariffs and North American security will be high on the agenda when the two leaders meet at the White House. The bulk of Canadian goods continue to enter the United States tariff-free thanks to an exemption under the Canada-US-Mexico Agreement, which is up for review next year. But Canadian officials say lately they're focusing on finding relief to steep sectoral tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, copper, and autos, as well as duties on softwood lumber. Naira Ahmed, The Canadian Press.
Media are invited to join Nikki Sharma, Attorney General Bowen Ma, Minister of Infrastructure, and other guests for an announcement about new legislation that will provide greater certainty to contractors, subcontractors, and construction workers. The BC government plans to focus on economic growth and job security for the fall season. The sitting starts Monday, October 6, 2025, with government planning to introduce more than a dozen bills, most of which will be tabled in the first week. Amongst other topics, the government is prioritizing moving major projects forward to help create good families, supporting jobs, and strengthen the province's economy. The introduction of most of the legislation early in the session will allow MLAs, the media, and public to have much time as possible to consider the bills. If passed, the legislation will provide good jobs to support BC families, ensure the fair treatment of workers, protect people from sexual violence, and address affordability issues. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson are returning to the stage this summer as their band called Rush. The reunion will take on 12 cities in North America. So far, 2 Canadian dates have been booked at Toronto Scotiabank Arena on August 7th and 9th. This will be the first time that Rush is touring without their late drummer. Lee and Lifeson said that they intend to honor their friend with a different tribute every show. They have a 2-hour set list that will change up each night. Rush has also welcomed a new drummer. Her name is Annika Niles. She's a professional musician who has previously played with Jeff Beck. A man is convicted for shooting arson at a Punjabi musician in his home. He has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. The 26-year-old shooter has a noted connection to the India-based Bishnoi gang, and a judge concluded that the attack was not isolated. The Bishnoi gang, based in India, has been linked to a number of investigations into violent crimes across Canada and has been deemed a terrorist entity by the federal government this week. The second victim is identified as a 24-year-old Vikram Sharma, who is believed to have fled to India. Giselle Pellicot is going face-to-face with one of 51 of her attackers in the sexual assault case that has been a catalyst for fighting against sexual violence in Europe. However, now citizens in her hometown are reportedly getting tired of the ongoing case. Certain citizens believe the global known case gives their hometown in France a bad rap. The case continues after she was saved from the abuse and sexual violence of her husband and 51 other men who drugged her and raped her as she lay there unconscious. Jean-Marc Derrigade is her ex-husband's lawyer who has something to say about the husband's perspective.
He's coming into this trial scared because of the first trial. It was tumultuous outside the hearing, but he's also in a situation where his true adversary is not Giselle Pellicot, whom he deeply respects, but the man who was her husband, whom he considers a cynical man who trapped her.
Exhausted Palestinians in Gaza reflect on the possibility of a ceasefire as talks are held in Egypt. Charles de Ledesma, as AP correspondent with Sound of Wadia al-Ras, has more on the current status in Palestine.
Palestinians in Gaza are following the latest effort to stop the war there and release the hostages with a mix of anticipation, cautious optimism and doubt as Israeli and Hamas officials are in Egypt for indirect negotiations. In Deir al-Balah, central Gaza Strip, Wadia al-Ras, displaced from Fashata refugee camp in northern Gaza, tells the AP, "We hope the delegation travelling to Sharm el-Sheikh will end this war. For 2 years we have been in ruins, with people displaced in the streets. If some Palestinians are hopeful, others are more sceptical." Nabila Shuna, displaced from Gaza City, tells the AP, "There's not 1% hope, because they gave us hope before and said there would be a truce, and then the truce was ruined. We are 2 years into this war and we have not seen any progress or anything on the ground that would make us hopeful." The latest push for peace comes after Hamas accepted some elements of the US peace plan, a move welcomed by President Donald Trump and many leaders. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Greta Thunberg, the young political activist, has been released from Israel and has been deported to Greece. Alongside 170 other Gaza flotilla activists, her crew was recently intercepted by Israeli naval forces. Although she is in safe hands now after landing in Greece, the experience was brutal for the young artists. Many others taken into custody said they were denied basic rights during their detention. According to another activist, she was tortured and forced to kiss the Israeli flag by Israeli officials. Winfield Beaver, a political activist, has more on Israel's treatment of Greta.
They draped her in an Israeli flag and they just pushed and pulled her wherever they wanted and for whatever propaganda they wanted. I was like 3 people in front of her in line, and she came close to this private room and they just shoved her really aggressively and put her in the room, and then Ben Gvir arrives and goes into the room with her. And they were just, it was awful, but they were trying to use her as propaganda for their
With a National Bank of Canada special report from August of 2024 stating the youth job market is deteriorating, many people are still struggling hard to find work. Our reporter Riley Cunningham has more on the frustrations with the current economy.
The Canada West Foundation says youth unemployment numbers are at their highest since the 1990s, leaving young people behind in the job market. Khadija Munir is a young professional who has been struggling to find work for 10 months. She says something needs to change about the hiring process.
I think no feedback is probably a big dilemma for people trying to enter into the job market today, because they're at their wits' end as to what to do and how to do it, and there are more questions than answers for them.
Young people can expect to keep seeing weak growth in the private sector and a delay in hiring until the market stabilizes. Riley Cunningham, BCIT News.
Canada Post has removed a signing bonus that they say just can't be afforded anymore. Despite a 13% wage increase over 4 years, plus health and retirement benefits, and 7 weeks of vacation, the sign-on bonus is unavailable now. Workers used to receive between $500 to $1,500 from their first employment at Canada Post. The organization's financial decline does not have room for that bonus anymore. According to Weather Canada, the weather in Burnaby is mostly sunny and the temperature is around highs of 16 degrees and lows of 12. Enjoy it while you can and get outside when you have some free time, because it's not going to last. This is Bahar Garian for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from public relations to communications to video editing, radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.